All right. Uh, Interview with Dr. Anderson. Uh, how long have you been in the environmental science program here at App, and what made you become interested in joining it?
Okay.
Mhm.
I guess I've been involved in it since it was started. I was on one of the original committee that put together the first curriculum that we used for it.
Mhm.
So I was the representative from what was then the geology department. And we brought a bunch of departments together from across campus and decided what we wanted the environmental science program to be, and then put that together. So
I see.
as a hydrologist, I kind of was naturally in that.
Mhm.
Um, and then more recent years, as it became part of our department, I advocated for that because most environmental science programs are associated with the earth science department.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I guess I've always been involved in it from its inception. Um, until I stopped teaching hydrogeology, I also had all the environmental science grads as a student because they had to take my hydrogeology class.
Mhm.
So I always
That
knew
makes
who
sense.
they all were. So I was
Nice.
pretty heavily involved in it.
Yeah, so you there from square one, like.
Yeah, yeah, they would take 1104, so sometimes they would have me for 1104. We've kind of switched that to 1101 now, but then they would have the 4000 level hydrogeology class, so I would have them in there. And I've done research with environmental science students at different
So
times.
so it's like a pretty relatively new like degree and everything.
Yeah, I think we've graduated people for 10 years now.
Nice. I guess compared to all the other hard sciences, pretty
Pretty,
new.
pretty new, yeah.
Mm.
It's relatively new. But
Still, yeah, still here for 10 years. That's
yeah,
something like.
yeah. I think we
Mm.
started meeting in 2008 to put together the curriculum. So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so it
still
was,
in high school
really,
then.
I wasn't.
Well, I guess that's kind of my second question was environmental science, a relatively new program major. So
Yeah,
skip to
yeah. I
number.
think it's been around for about 10 years.
Nice.
And I did research with one of the first grads, um, who he did some of the stream monitoring with me, and that he must have graduated in 2011. So yeah, that would kind of make sense with
Start of the
the
program.
timeline. Yeah, the timeline and all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what types of jobs do you imagine environmental science majors will fill once graduated? I know it's probably a huge, broad spectrum, but.
Yeah. Um, for the most part, those students are either going to go into the environmental industry or to grad school. So, in the environmental industry, that's why we've kind of tailored the degree toward that kind of science heavy
Mhm.
part of environmental science.
Mhm.
And so that's why hydrogeology was so important because if you're working for an environmental consultant, most of your I'd say 80%. I probably said this in 10
Yeah, I remember.
minutes. 75% of what you're going to be doing is going to involve some sort of groundwater remediation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that class is in there, and that's why I was involved in it.
Yeah, I actually remember that exact quote.
Yeah, I say that in all my classes. So those are mostly where our students go. Environmental, even in the geology side. See, like, is it working?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
so more with that. So we've just recently, starting next year, retooled the environmental science degrees so that they're focused either on earth science or life science. So the earth science people would be eligible to get a professional geology license, or the life science people would be able to get certification as environmental or as certified wetland specialists. So we're trying to give the ability to get some credentials with those degrees.
Like a little too broad before, so like narrowing it down, kind of.
Yeah, and it really helps to be able to have some sort of credential.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So the environmental science students and our geology students, they're all competing for the same jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But the geologists are at an advantage because they can get the PG.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
At some point, so we want to make it possible for environmental science majors to do that too, or to get some other sort of licensure, and that's what we're doing the life science side. So those classes are geared more to being able to pass the wetland specialist tests.
Nice.
So yeah.
And that's like new, like this year and stuff.
Starting in the fall, yeah, we just got it approved. We've been
Oh.
working on it for the past year and a half, and it just got approved. So
Nice, that's cool.
yeah,
I just want to make sure that guy's still.
is it still going?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, still going. Worried about the black
But
screen
doesn't
there.
move when I speak. Yeah, okay.
No, yeah, I was like kind of testing out this morning and stuff, and even when it's like kind of quiet, it's if you crank up the volume, you can still hear everything pretty good. So
Okay, good.
we should be at a good level.
All right, good.
In your opinion, what makes environmental science majors different than other science-based majors?
Well, I think most of the science majors are going to have at least some level of broad science curriculum, science and math. And I think the environmental science curriculum goes beyond that because it's heavily interdisciplinary.
Hmm.
Anything related to the earth has to be interdisciplinary.
Oh yeah,
I probably talked about geology and environmental science in 1010 where I showed all the
yeah. I remember that
different
that
compo-
first day graph thing
Yeah,
about
yeah.
all the things in it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So we try to get students to learn about as many of those different topics as you can, and that's how we kind of came up with the curriculum. So let me double check.
Oh yeah, that's that guy right there.
So you're taking probably a broader array of classes
Mhm.
than the typical science major. Like if you're in bio, you're mostly going to be taking bio and probably quite a bit of chemistry,
Oh,
not
yeah.
much math. If you're physics, you're going to take a lot of math and physics.
Mhm.
Sometimes they come over here and take physics-related courses from us. But in environmental science, you need to know some bio. Not as much bio as most people think, but you need to know some bio.
Mhm.
You need to know chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
You need to know a lot of geology because that's what whatever you're working on is interacting with. It's interacting with superficial processes of the earth. So you need to know that.
Mhm.
For a lot of what we do, since we do a lot of modeling is mathematically based, so you have to take a lot of math.
Mhm.
You have to know statistics. You need to take a lot of physics. So I think we're kind of broader in that sense. And geology is similar. That's why it kind of makes sense to have us together because geologists need all those tools as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
So so I think that answered that
Yeah.
question.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of what like doing a little bit of research. Realized, yeah, it's a lot more like it's interdisciplinary than like other things. Stuff
Yes.
has just a way broader range. Like,
Yes.
do you imagine there will be a need for environmental science graduates in the near and distant future? Why or why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
With global warming taking place,
Mhm.
climate change, with
Mhm.
growing population, it's going to be a bigger chance for pollution.
Mhm.
Environmental scientists are going to be able to work on those problems.
Mhm.
Right now, we're in a trend where regulations are being taken away.
All right. Yeah.
That's going to lead
Kind of
to
blows the mind, but
Does blow the mind. Yes, glad you said that. But that's just going to lead to more jobs in the future, unfortunately.
I guess so. Yeah, kind of the inverse relationship. Like,
Yes.
make the problems, and you need to.
Yes.
Mm.
So when I think of growing up in the Midwest and the way things used to look and the way they look now in terms of water quality, and it's hard for me to imagine why we would want to go back in that direction.
Yeah. Right.
But I think with those things going on, I think there's always going to be a need for environmental scientists. I mean, anytime there are humans living on the earth and altering the earth, making things, byproducts of making things are going to be something that could potentially pollute.
Mm.
There's always going to be a need for people to understand how pollutants migrate through the environment and how you clean that up.
Yeah.
If you can, or just to monitor for that.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, like that. I think it was last time I talked about that one place in China that like put like the CFCs up there, able to actually track it down, pinpoint it, and
Yeah.
see a noticeable change there, and like
Yes.
kind of blows my mind. Just one little place can do all that. Like,
Right. Yes. And then the forensic ability to be able to figure that
yeah,
out
right.
and
Like,
figure out where it's coming from.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like detective, you know.
Well, doing environmental consulting is a little bit like doing detective work because, when you get out to a site and there's contamination there, maybe you've been called in because you know exactly what it is.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, you don't know where it's coming from.
Mhm.
And you don't know necessarily what was spilled. If you do know what was spilled, you don't know how much was spilled.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you have to do all sorts of detective work to try to figure out just even finding out where the plume is.
Yeah,
gonna
right. Oh,
involve-
that takes so much. Yeah, tracking like things,
Yes.
like time and effort.
Yeah,
Like,
and all those skills that we were just talking about, imaging the subsurface so that you can know what the shape of the box is that it's flowing through.
mm,
Collecting hydro data so you can figure out where the water is moving, so you can better
Mhm.
track where it's going and figure out how fast it's moving.
mm,
So there are all those things.
mm.
So yeah, that was a little bit off topic.
Yeah, right. I tend to get off topic easily, but
But yeah, I think having those skills is going to be of need for the Earth for a long time.
oh, absolutely. And kind of straightforward. And what styles of writing are most common in the environmental science field, like MLA or APA, like those kind of formats?
What do they stand for?
I think the American Psychiatric Association. Something I can't even remember MLA, but just like kind of like how you like cite your sources and stuff. Like,
I would say for environmental consulting, you're just going to be writing reports. So
Mm.
it might not conform to any sort of standard like that.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
probably just using your own data that you've collected.
mm,
If you go into academia, then there are certain ways that we cite papers that we're working off of.
mm,
And it varies by journal, but for the most part, I don't know how it relates to
Yeah,
those,
right.
but
oh, that makes a lot of sense. So kind of working with your own thing. So why like have to cite other people for your own information?
for
Right.
us, and I don't know how we do it in the environmental science WID course,
Mm.
the writing
Oh, yeah.
that you'll take next.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah, I think I should be able to take it next
You should
semester.
be taking it in the fall, yeah.
hmm
In the geology version, we have them use GSA, Geological Society of America, formatting from their
Mhm.
journals. It's fairly consistent across the discipline, and those are the same journals that environmental science would use.
Nice.
So,
And yeah, that kind of ties it right with like my other question, like what kind of things like lab reports, journals, like would you be writing? So say like a lot of it, yeah, just like lab reports and like maybe research proposals and like
if you are working in industry, yeah, you'll be writing reports
mm,
to whoever your client is, right?
Mm.
So you'll be doing that. If you're in academia, you'll be doing all sorts of stuff. You'll be writing grant proposals. You'll be writing academic papers. You'll be submitting abstracts to go to meetings, and those all have their certain formats that they
Oh,
use
yeah.
depending upon what it is. But,
mm-hmm.
a lot of times now you can download the template for a journal that you're submitting to, and so it's already formatted ahead of time
Oh,
when you
that's
submit
nice.
it, so they can kind of see what it looks like.
Nice.
Doesn't mean it's going to get accepted.
Yeah,
But
right,
they
like-
usually like you to do that.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's mainly what you would be doing.
Cool.
I think the faculty here, we write all the time. I never thought I would
Oh yeah, I'm
You're
sure you
right.
guys are like yeah.
write every day, all the time.
Yeah, right.
So-
Oh man, like yeah, handcrafted even.
And besides writing reports, you're going to have to write professional emails to people
Mhm.
in the industry. So
Yeah, that was like kind of the email I sent to you was it was supposed to be like practicing the professional email, but that's like really the first time I've ever done it. So it might have not been as professional as it should have been, but
that was fun. And
Mm.
that's the style that you need to use when you email professors. Just get
Oh,
in the
yeah.
habit of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know I can be a little too lax. I got to check myself a little bit.
I know some people that will, sometimes you just get these run-on, no capitalization, no punctuation emails from students. People just send them back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer this.
It's like, yeah, if you made it to college, man, you can at least put a period there.
That's right. That's exactly. Capitalization. Yeah.
Right? Like basic grade school stuff.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And, I guess yeah, the last three are more kind of like to your like things that your experiences in the field. Like, why is environmental science important to you?
Well, I've always liked science and math, and that's how I got into actually engineering first,
Mhm.
and then decided I didn't really want to do engineering after I got my degree, so I went into geology, and then because I had those two backgrounds, I got into hydrogeology and became a hydrologist. So just being able to take those skills and then apply them to figure out how the Earth works, I think is really cool.
Yeah,
So,
right. Like, yeah, that
yeah.
really is. Yeah, take everything, just like be able to actually put it all to use. Hopefully one day I'll be there.
And to be able to take the complexity of the Earth and try to boil it down to something that humans can deal with and understand, and hopefully predict how things are going to work is kind of a fun problem. So anytime you do collect any data, even doing research or working for a consultant, every job you go to, it's going to be a completely different situation. And so, like I was saying, kind of doing the detective work, you have to get out there and try to figure out what's going on and try to figure out what happened. And you're not always going to have all the information. So, plus then the ultimately, then you're also trying to, fix things and try to keep the Earth from getting messed up. So,
I think everyone can agree is a pretty noble thing to do.
It should be, yeah. So,
Right?
So I just find it really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's the most satisfying thing about your job? Kind of like goes into the other question, but.
Well, I like that I can spend some time in the field. I can spend some time in here. Like I'm running simulations right now on my computer. You can't see them. I like interacting with students. I like teaching. So there's a lot of things about my job that I really like.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's always something going on. A student in here, she's got a model running. Yeah, you're coming in for an interview. It's always something different every day.
Nice, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. Activity is fun, I think, overall.
Nice. Then, if you had to pick, what would you consider to be your proudest moment / accomplishment in this field?
I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, big one.
Well, that student who was just in here, she won an award at the American Geophysical Union meeting for one of the top student presentations.
Oh.
She was competing against grad students. She's only an undergrad.
Really? Oh,
So
good for her. Wow.
That was pretty,
yeah,
I was
right.
pretty proud of that. I guess the other one, a faculty member in a different department of me won a best paper in the journal for that particular year award.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, the whole year, like
For the whole year, the whole journal.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how many articles they published. Maybe 250. So we had the top paper.
Man,
So that
yeah,
was
that's
fun.
a pat on the back there, like.
Yeah, so that was one for me. But yeah, I always like when my students, finish some senior thesis or present. Those are always rewarding. Especially, I was really surprised when
Yeah, you
when
get like,
undergrad won.
yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
huge meeting. So she was competing. They thought she was a PhD student.
man, really? So
Yeah.
she's going places.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
man.
so. Yeah.
Oh, good for her. Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
insane for undergraduate to be competing with all those people.
So that was, I think that's pretty good.
Nice.
Just doing, I've been doing this 20 years, so that's I think that's accomplishment too. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, doing anything for 20 years. Yeah, accomplishment.
So, yeah, I guess that's what I would say.
Nice. Well, awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this. Like,
Good
this.
seeing you.
Yeah, good seeing you too, man. Like, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to see you a little more throughout the building, and start taking more sciencey courses and stuff. Like,
Have you been using the URL?
Is that the room right over there?
Right down the hall?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got a key for that like as soon as I could last semester, and I haven't had to use it because it's always open and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, it's nice having like a little spot to print and like staple stuff. Just like don't have to go to the library all the time. Can just go and chill there. And,
Right.
like,
I've noticed some other people like Matthew, who was in your class in 1010. He's been hanging out in there, and I think Silvana was in the class. She hangs out in there.
nice.
Yeah, a number of people. Sophia Barron, who she was one of the people that asked a lot of questions in there.
Oh yeah, I think I remember. Yeah, she
Yeah.
was in another one of my class last
Yeah.
semester too. So.
So she's hanging out in there. And, Jade Lee, I see her a lot. She's in that class. So yeah, there's a good number of people that are.
Yeah, right. I gotta do a better job of meeting people around here too.
That's
So
right.
like,
That's right. We're going to be having our banquet in
oh yeah.
mid-April. So
Oh nice.
have you been getting the newsletter?
Yeah, I have been getting the newsletter. So
And you know about advising, right?
how it switched over from.
We're doing the group advising. Have you been assigned an
Oh,
advisor on the department?
I have. I've been terrible. Or actually, I guess I don't.